Hi, and thanks for clicking on my video. My name is Donna Clarke, and I'm an elementary teacher in Wallingford-Swarthmore School District. And I'm here to talk to you just for a few moments today about education and specifically being a teacher. Now, I've been with Wallingford-Swarthmore School District for nearly 10 years, and I found my way into teaching via two other professional careers. So let me give you a little bit of background. When I finished college, I graduated from Temple University, go Owls, and I have a business degree with a focus on marketing. And the focus then was for me to go into the corporate world. So I worked for the hospitality industry for about 10 years and working in sales and operations and traveled around the country and working in different hotels across the country. Ultimately, I wanted to do something that was more philanthropic in my efforts. So I switched career paths and I went into nonprofit. And from there, I was an event planner. I did patient care. And I also did diversity development and training for our staff and our volunteers. So I loved that job, but I still wanted to do something that was a little bit more philanthropic, but definitely closer to my heart, and which is where I really looked to find my efforts and path to teaching. So I went back to school and got my master's degree in multicultural education. And I began in the Wallingford-Swarthmore School District as a fourth grade teacher as a sub. Ultimately, after that year as a sub, I was able to become a contracted teacher teaching second grade. So let me give you some general background about what it takes to be a teacher, maybe some things that I think are important to think about if you're looking in the career of education, and also some positives and some challenges that we have to face as educators daily. Basically, when I went to college with my master's, at that time, we had to pass 3 state exams in order to be certified. So my certification is in kindergarten through 6th grade. And I had to pass, of course, my teaching license as well as getting my master's degree. And so now those things have changed. So if you're interested in the field of education, it's important to know what is the Department of Education really looking for and what are those requirements. And I'll talk in a few moments about if you're looking to other fields or within education. Some general skills you need besides the license is one, not being afraid of public speaking. And that doesn't mean just in front of your classroom of students, but also whether it be in parents or administrators. So you have to be comfortable talking in front of people. I think it's also important to note you need to feel comfortable working with and working around diverse populations. So whether it be racial, religious, socioeconomic, all of those things will come into play where you're working, and you need to be comfortable and have an understanding of how to work within diverse populations if this is a field you choose, particularly in the public education domain. Some things you'll learn, and it's important to have strong classroom management or understand people and people skills. And that's something that always comes in time, but again, interacting and interfacing with people who come from different backgrounds, that's going to be vital as a teacher if this is a field you're interested in. Being organized and flexible. And this is beyond the lives of COVID. It really means looking at a lesson that if you're looking to plan and things go sideways or a conversation diverges into something more meaningful for the students and it's a learning opportunity, having the plan, but also having the flexibility to change your plan and go with the flow and still meet the needs and objectives of the learning environment are key. Traits that really, I think, make me pretty good or good at my job. One, first is self-respect. I love who I am and what I can bring to the table, but I also love my students for who they are and what they also bring. So having a respect for yourself and a respect for your students. Unfortunately, sometimes adults think that kids are kids and we can treat them any kind of way. And I think as an adult, it's important to note we need to show respect as well as receive respect. And so my students know that I love who I am, but I also love who they are and I respect who they are. And when I'm wrong, I admit I'm wrong and ask for their forgiveness, just like I would ask them to do the same if they did it towards me. Making sure you have appropriate boundaries. I love my students and we have some fun, but they know my expectations for them are high and attainable, and I believe they can do it. And so that's my expectation, excellence. And if any of you have ever been in my class, you would know that we have high expectations of excellence, but also you just need to come bring in your A game. And wherever that lands, that's where I'll meet you. I think another thing too is just being flexible and helping my kiddos learn, but not just strictly following the curriculum, but looking at how can I engage my learners, meeting them where they're at, the different learning styles. I think that helps me to help my kiddos best. And I think that's, these are just a few qualities I think that help me be the teacher that I really want to be on a daily basis. Now, teaching, of course, has positive and negative aspects like every other career. And so some negative aspects, I'll start first and end on a positive. Some negative can be if you don't agree with all the aspects of the curriculum. So for example, if there's things you're required to teach, whether it's scripted or you feel it's missing something, that can be a challenge as a teacher because you're required to teach what's given to you. So you have to figure out how to navigate and meet the needs of your students with the content you have. Some other things that can be a challenge if there's a disagreement or the way your administration is running things, or whether it be in your building or within the district, that can be a challenge too. And again, you have to figure out how to navigate through all of that. So those can be challenges. I've been very fortunate. I feel as though I haven't had too much of that of an issue, but again, that's a significant reality in the field of education and in teaching. Positive aspects of my job, that's pretty easy. Seeing the smiles on the kids' faces, getting that aha moment when they figure out something or just a tiny little bit of improvement in something, to me, that's wonderful. And being able to genuinely laugh, like a belly laugh, laugh at myself, laugh when something goes down, that's a definite aspect of my job that I love. And again, we have fun in my room and we have serious time in our room. But again, I think what makes our class enjoyable is that I want my students to love coming to school and learning in whatever facet, and deal with the fun and not so fun aspects of what they have to do each day. Some character traits, I think if you're looking in the field of education, is flexibility, as I mentioned before, being organized, but also having the flexibility and the wherewithal to really make adjustments as needed. And again, go where the learning needs to go and still meet your objectives. I think that's going to be key. You need to be self-motivated too, not just waiting like, oh, this is my curriculum and this is what I need to do, but figure out how can I make it better? How can I make it more engaging? How can I meet the needs of all my kiddos simultaneously in some cases? And I think that's key. That's key. Being calm under pressure. You never know who's coming into your classroom, students or otherwise. And so being able to manage those unique personalities in those moments and not freaking out and being able to be the adult or the leader in the room is going to be paramount. So that's incredibly important. And to just enjoy teaching and enjoy the time you have, because you have the opportunity to really shape the minds of young people, whether it's kindergarten or 10th grade or 11th grade. So a couple things to remember. One, for training and education, like I said, my background, I have a business degree and then I have a master's degree with a teaching certification. For teachers really in the state of Pennsylvania currently, you need to have at least a bachelor's degree within a public school and your licensure. What that really means is you need to be certified to teach in a certain level. So in my case, I'm K-6. If you're interested in early education, that might be K-2 or K-4. If you're interested in special education, that's K-12. If you're interested in teaching math, a certain level of math, that would be a level of certification. So based on what you want to do, minimum, it's a bachelor's degree and some kind of license to teach whatever topic you want to teach. That's in key. Now, a couple things that I always remember in my reflective teaching, and really what that means is, what did I do well? What could I do differently next time? And I think about the mentors I've had in my life, whether it be my kindergarten teacher, Mrs. Jacobs, who I remember so many decades ago, how wonderful she made me feel in school and how scared I was and how little I was. But I remembered her soft voice and I remember her gentle guidance. That's something that stays with me as a teacher every day. I remember people like my daughter's second grade teacher when I was in grad school, and I would volunteer in her classroom, and the creativity and the excitement that she shared with her students, and her students were in turn creative and excited, and I wanted that in my classroom. I remember that. I think about my cooperating teacher when I was student teaching, and her being able to navigate and help those little ones who were sad about being away from home, and being able to still help them feel comfortable in their environment as first graders, but be able to help them move along in the curriculum and that nurturing component. And I also remember one of my grad school professors who really saw the teacher in me, because at one point I was going to just maybe get my master's and maybe sub or do something, and he said, you can do more. And that's something I take with me when my classroom is like, I can do more. I can help my students do more. And that's something that drives me. Those mentors from when I was 5 years old to the current day have helped shape who I am as a teacher and how I'm developing my craft as the years go on. Now, my advice to you, if you're still interested in this field, and hopefully I haven't scared you away, is get active in the classrooms. If you can have an opportunity to volunteer in an elementary classroom, if that's your interest, or a middle school, or tutoring, figuring out how to figure out how kids are learning and what do you need to do differently, or how can you help them be better. Asking trusted teachers and educators, administrators, getting their insight on what's the field look like, or what's that subject area look like that you're most interested in. That's going to be key. Research the area in which you want to maybe work. So if you're looking to teach, but you don't want to do it here in Pennsylvania and you want to do it in DC, or you want to do it in Texas, really do the research of what are the needs, what are the driving trends of where they're going to be teaching needs, whether it's high school, elementary, middle school, whatever it is. Do your research, talk to people, volunteer, tutor, all those things are going to be really helpful in you understanding the field of education. And honestly, I feel like teaching is great for me because I feel there's a value I can add a service to my future students. And I know that everyone has a different path, and I'm not saying you need to do like me and take the first half of your professional career and figure out what you want to do before you do the right thing and become a teacher. Take those other experiences that you're interested in. And if you have to go on another path and then come back to teaching, that's okay too. But just know, if you want to be in the field of education, do some research, talk to people, get some experiences, and find out. And the one thing, I don't know who said this, but the one thing that I think is so poignant as far as teaching is, remember that teaching is the one profession that all other professions are made of. And that's key. So just know that if you look to do work in the field of education or teaching, you have had your thumbprint on the future of some other profession, and that's paramount. So I thank you for watching. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. But again, talk to those trusted educators, administrators, and I wish you nothing but the most success in your career day path. Thank you.